Hello and welcome to How to Secure an Internship for the Fall 2022 semester. I hope you all had a wonderful summer break and you're excited to be back on campus. My name is Lauren Opgenorth and my pronouns are she, her, and hers. I'm the Associate Director of Internship Engagement at the USC Career Center, and I'm one of about 20 different colleagues at the center here to help you. During the next hour, I'm going to review how all you can go through the process of finding internships through the different resources, showcase our ConnectSC platform, which is one of the one-stop shops for everything internship, job, and careers related. And it's going to be a really informative session and you'll receive a lot of content. So I recommend that you try to listen and follow along. And then I will also be sharing this on our YouTube channel, as there's definitely several different videos, whether they are informative or Trojan Talks or other resources for you to choose. So to get started, I first want to share our mission. The mission of the USC Career Center is to support the diverse aspirations, identities, and experiences of Trojans as they seek professional opportunities. You'll notice that we're here to support all the different majors, all the different GPAs. It's not just for particular schools, it's for all indeed. You'll notice that we do have opportunities across a wide variety. And as I mentioned with the different colleagues, we do have a small but mighty staff here for internship engagement. I mentioned myself. We also have Liz, who is our internship and diversity programs advisor, as well as Giselle, our mentorship and alumni engagement coordinator. The three of us are here to work with you to help you through these different experiences. And also wanted to give a little bit of insight in regards to our office. We are located in the Student Union. The Career Center actually has two different locations. One of them is just right there behind me, right across from where Seeds is. Otherwise, the internship engagement team is located in our interview center, so the basement of the Student Union building. And definitely wanted to let you know that in addition to doing 30-minute appointments, we also are seeing students through drop-ins. We do drop-ins Monday through Friday, 1 to 4, and they can be done in person in the Student Union room 110, the room right there behind me there in the courtyard. Otherwise, we are doing them virtually through Brazen. In order to get access to the Brazen details, I did include this link that takes you to the website and then the specific link to get you on to those resources. So now that you have a better idea of our mission and what we're hoping to do here at the Career Center, you're all here to learn about how to secure an internship. So let's dive into first, what is an internship? It really does provide that hands-on industry experience in order to make connection with different professionals in the different fields. And internships are structured to expose students to a role or to an organization, and in return, really try to prepare those students for future job opportunities and enhance their professional experience for whatever that next step might be. And it's very common for college or university students to have internships, and they really do provide the tool or resource for how to prepare students for that. So I'm definitely going to be discussing a little bit more about that, but with an internship, for instance, when you go to our job portal, they're either going to be listed as paid or unpaid. And while certainly there's different benefits to both, you really have to think about what type of experience are you going to be able to gain from that. And so certainly there's the paid opportunities, but something to note about the unpaid positions. Some of the unpaid positions might require you to take an internship course. There are several different courses for you to enroll in at the university for both undergrad or grad students. One of the most general courses is offered through the Dornsife College of Letters, Arts, and Science, and it's MDA 250. That's M as in mother, D as in Dornsife, A as in alphabet 250. And that is a course that would need declearance, and you would have to check within the schedule of classes to access that. So that's a requirement that's put on by the organization. That's not a USC rule. So definitely if you're unsure whether the position is paid or unpaid, please make sure that you follow up specifically with either the HR person or your potential supervisor, and they can then indicate that. But I then wanted to go over the points about what it is you would gain from your internship. First, as I mentioned, that experience. It's going to give you that better idea of what is it like to work in a particular field, whether you've been studying it or you are just curious to see whether you have interest in it. It's something you want to pursue after graduation. What a great way to gain some experience. It's also going to give you connections. You're not going to be typically working by yourself. You're going to at least have a supervisor and some colleagues. And wouldn't it be great to learn through their experiences? What did they do when they got started, either as an intern or a young professional? How were they able to work their way through the different ranks? How could they make themselves stand out as a strong candidate for that full-time job opportunity? I also mentioned exposure to the company. So once you're on the inside of an organization, you have a better idea of what are some of the different roles. What are they hiring for? When does that hiring happen? Versus someone who's just trying to get their foot in the door. Not only is it going to give you a better idea to the overall organization, but some of the different departments too, because it's always important to not just focus on what you're doing in your position, but then seeing how that connects with the rest of the organization. It certainly could lead to other internships or other even full-time jobs as you do get closer to graduation. I also want to mention the professional etiquette. There are some things that you really only learn while on the job, whether it's, responding to emails, how do you communicate with your supervisor, how can you interact in different meetings. There's certain professional etiquette that you will just learn on the job. We see that a lot of times people will learn how to answer the different phones, how they're able to go about and navigating that. Certainly, you're going to speak differently when you're in the workplace versus talking to a family member. And these are just some of the things to think about. Also, etiquette for in-person versus virtual and or hybrid experiences. A lot of times, I usually will make the comment, on time is early or excuse me, early is on time and on time is late. So making sure that you give yourself a little extra time as you transition between meetings. So something to think about there. And last but certainly not least, internships give you that potential job for the future. Most organizations are going to see internships as that pipeline, the way that it's going to introduce and really see, does this candidate have what it takes to work there? Not only do I say internships are really 3 month interviews, it's a chance for you to prove yourself. It's a chance for them to really test drive and see, do they have what it takes? Are they able to handle the pressure? Are they able to get tasks done ahead of time? It's really that chance for you to excel and showcase all the wonderful experience you have thus far. And it's definitely something that is one of the perks of an internship. So now that we've been able to talk a little bit about the benefits of internships, also wanted to talk a little bit about virtual internship and our experiences. Certainly, we've seen the uptick of these opportunities from really 2019 and beyond. And I do want to also mention some of the different student benefits. Certainly, we recognize that for some of these internships, it's going to require you to leave campus, sometimes traveling great lengths, whether it's into Santa Monica or even downtown or even, further into Los Angeles. But a virtual internship will allow you greater flexibility so that you can plan it right between your different classes. Also, it's going to give you a little bit more technology experience just because you'll be utilizing different platforms, whether you're using Zoom or Microsoft Teams or even the chat feature of Slack. It's going to allow you that experience to learn about multitasking and working through a number of different things. Also, it's going to certainly strengthen your communication and time management. I think that as more and more people have been working virtually, there's different points that you can reach someone, whether you are sending them a Slack message versus an email versus a phone call, or then if you have hybrid hours where they're spending, at least a couple days in the office, you certainly have that in-person piece. It certainly allows you to tailor the message according to the delivery. Sure, you'd have a different approach depending upon which one of those communication methods you were working on, but it's certainly something that comes with experience and then also time management as well. That's something that, again, with any new experience, whether it be internship or full-time job, that will certainly come with time. And of course, the benefit of working from anywhere, whether you are working in your residential hall, maybe your apartment, maybe your house, maybe from the local Starbucks or Coffee Bean, wherever it is in the US or outside, you can literally work from anywhere. And that benefit in itself has given students the opportunity to explore a number of options. Certainly, there's a number of different ways that you can find out about the different internship opportunities. And while ConnectSC is our signature platform, we do recognize that there are some opportunities outside of USC. So just wanted to bring them to your attention. We have seen students get some paid both virtual and in-person positions through internships.com. Also through Paragon One, we've seen a number of different Fortune 500 companies for more analytical type internships that students have been pursuing over the last couple of years. They've been utilizing that. Also wanted you to know about Parker Dewey. Parker Dewey has coined the phrase the micro internship. And the idea behind that is rather than taking the internship for the course of the semester, maybe you've got a busy course load or you just don't have that time, Parker Dewey allows these micro internships to be project based. They're all paid positions. And if you sign into their database, you can then actually see what different positions are available by which organization, what are the different time requirements. They'll typically say this is going to be for 20 hours, 30 hours, 40 hours. Then they will also show you what the different rates would be that you could get paid. I mentioned this because we had one student who during the working or school from home period during COVID actually did 22 different projects and was able to gain such vast experience across many different fields. And I think because of the good work that they were doing for each of the different projects, they were then getting recommended for additional ones. But that just shows a great way to get some additional supplemental income in addition to the experience to add to the resume and make it stand out. So it was pretty exciting. And also wanted to recognize that for these virtual internships, they're not just domestic. There's certainly that opportunity for global exploration. The two that I'll mention now are the Virtual Global Innovation Internship. This is with an external vendor that a number of students have gained some great experiences. They have a lot of opportunities specifically on the innovation side for entrepreneurship, but they are working with international organizations. And what a great way to gain that experience. As you can imagine, this was pretty popular when students weren't able to travel internationally. But even, recognizing sometimes people have the requirements for why they need to stay in the States or just don't have the flexibility in their schedule to go virtual. This is something that you can even do while being domestic. There's also the organization Virtual Internships. We do manage an international internship program, and for summer 2020 and summer 2021, we did actually utilize virtual internships to place students in internships across Asia. And so they were working virtually, but they were able to adjust their schedule so that it allowed them to conduct the work in their local time zone and then jump onto different meetings throughout the timing. So again, another way to help diversify the experience. So if you're thinking about, well, what can I do that can still expose me to international work opportunities, but by still being in the US, these two options might be a good opportunity for you. Also want to mention LinkedIn Learning. So these are a series of different workshops, webinars, even certification programs that allow you to learn different skills. Maybe you decide, I would love to learn how to code, or I need some more assistance with Excel or Access, whatever it may be. I would suggest logging in and utilizing that. You would still use your USC credentials since you are a student. And so make use of that resource while you still have it. Definitely a great way to brush up on some of those resources and a way that you can, add that experience then to your resume. So when a potential employer is checking it out, they can then see that. And then finally on this page, I did want to talk about Forage. What's unique about Forage is it's not an internship, but it's a virtual experience that gives you exposure to investment banking, analyst roles, and or consulting. So we know that a lot of students are looking to pursue these opportunities really this fall for next summer. And so, while some people are curious about it and don't necessarily want to take on a full internship, but they just want to try it out and gain a little bit more insight, there are these different, typically they are 5 to 6 hour sessions that walk you through the process of being a consultant or an analyst. And by completing these sessions, then the organizations like JP Morgan Chase, Chase, Bank of America, they will then give you access to some of their different lunch and learns or other recruiting sessions. So this information is available on our website under the students tab, specifically under internships. And really any of these experiences are things that you can have access to regardless of where you are in the world. So it's not like you have to commute or you have to fly anywhere. It's something you can do right here from Los Angeles. So wanted to certainly bring it to your attention. All right. So now that you're thinking, great, we've got all these opportunities, I wanted you to really start thinking about your internship search. And when you start doing that, there's certainly a lot of different influences, whether it's your family, different faculty, your friends. You really have to think about you yourself and what are your interests or your particular skills. First, trying to determine what is it that you're passionate about, and then identify companies or industries that are aligned with them. And it's really important to think about your own interests, really including your major, your previous experience, any skills or hobbies when you begin to think about this. Because in addition to looking at those companies, you also have to think about the industry and also how the job market is looking and really keeping track of a number of different schedules. So we have different career exploration platforms to assist with this. Certainly in looking at, market research, what's going on as far as job availability, and then of course, recruiting timelines. The more analytical the role, the more in advance you're going to have to be planning for this. So typically what I say for those students who are looking for those finance, consulting, investment banking internships, their deadlines are going to be this fall for next summer, and that's for the internship. Some of the deadlines have even passed. They were available in the spring. So it's very important that you know about this firsthand. And so it's definitely something that just be aware that it is indeed a process. I say similarly to applying to colleges, the internship and the full-time job search might feel like that, but we have a number of different resources to help you through. So on this next slide, what I want to do is actually share our USC exploration resources. They're all going to be hosted on ConnectSC. ConnectSC is our platform that not only is going to show you about different internships, but as well as these resources. Some people say ConnectSC is our website. That is not the case. Our website is careers.usc.edu. And then on the right side of the page, you will see the link for ConnectSC. After this PowerPoint, I will go to the platform so you can see it. But I definitely at least wanted you to at least get some of the information first, giving you that overview, and then I'll show you where you can access it. So again, some of our resources. Here's a list of a few of my favorites, but the first one I really wanted to put you in touch with because it's connecting majors to careers. What can you do with this major? A lot of times students will say, well, how am I supposed to translate this to that? And I say, well, it's going to come down to your internship experience. It's going to come down to what you've been doing with job shadowing and mentorship and all those different pieces. On this particular platform, why I like it is because not only does it give you, it breaks down the specific major into here are all the different areas. And these meaning, let's say if you wanted to try to apply for a job in there's a number of different, and I hate to give kind of examples specifically, but like, let's say if you're thinking, oh, you wanted to try to apply for something within engineering, it's then going to say, okay, well, do you want computer science? Do you want aerospace? Do you want mechanical? Do you want chemical? There's so many different areas that you can go into. And rather than thinking everything is lumped into engineering, it'll break down, these are the different areas. These are the different employers. These are some of the different specializations, and it'll give you additional recommendations of professional associations, as well as even something about here are some of the outlooks for job opportunities. So when we were talking about whether or not there are prospect positions, something to consider, it's also going to give you a number of different additional resources. So it really helps to give a little bit more insight once you're trying to figure out what is a good field for me to explore. Connecting majors to careers can help you with that. Then ONET Online has different detailed descriptions of the world of work by different job seekers or workforce development, even HR professionals. So that's something that it is an external site. You can if you just Google ONET, you can see that. I did want to mention Your Next Step. So this is one of our resources available on ConnectSC. ConnectSC that does give you access to different assessments. So if you're trying to figure out what are some of your natural skill sets, the things that are going to be a little bit more on your strengths and that come a little bit more naturally, your next step is going to help develop that and then give you a better idea of here are the different fields or industries that you should be pursuing. Also, right now is the first week of classes, and I would highly encourage you to speak with faculty, different staff, whether they are the staff that maybe you have an on-campus job with or you're in the library speaking to. They can offer a lot of different insight, even your own peers. Sometimes if you're speaking with a peer about what did they do for their summer internship, and if that sounds of interest for you, I would certainly suggest checking that out as well. Certainly, the more conversations you have around the different topics, it's going to help further clarify what you see as an important aspect of your career or not. And then we do have a few other resources, Firsthand, Indeed, and Glassdoor. So Firsthand is actually formerly our vault.com guides. So if you wanted to see a day in the life of an actuary or a consultant or someone in one of those different fields, it's a great snapshot into the field. They also will highlight different industries. And so I find that is a wonderful resource. If you try to just Google that one, you're going to have to pay a subscription. So make sure you do access that one through ConnectSC in our online resources section. Otherwise, there's two of our final external websites that I would encourage you to check out, either Indeed or Glassdoor. They've got a lot of great information. They're certainly open to several different individuals, but I wanted to make sure that you had that at your fingertips in order to gain as much insight about all the different career exploration. So again, this is a process. You've come here to learn how to go about and securing an internship, and we're just giving you some of the tools to think about what can you do virtually, what can you do to explore your different field. But before you get too far in the process, you're also going to need a final draft of these documents. And certainly you're going to need to have that resume, that cover letter, and then that reference page. So first, your resume is a one-page document describing you and your experience, and you should include relevant volunteer experience, community service, skills, education that are really transferable to the role. And it's recommended to review the internship description and make sure your resume does align with the position. I pointed out a couple different plugs here. We do have something that's known as Smart Resume. Specifically, Smart Resume utilizes artificial intelligence, and in about 30 to 60 seconds, it's going to give you a review of your resume and then take a look at what is the impact, how are their descriptions, what does the format look like. It's going to give you a number out of 100. So I've seen some numbers that are less than 50, and that's okay. It's always a work in progress. You can certainly make some edits and change it up, but you will be able to have 10 different uploads each academic year. If you need more than 10, you certainly just email us at careers@usc.edu and just let us know, I've utilized all 10 of my uploads. Can I get more? That's fine. We will help you. With nearly 50,000 students, we had to pick a number, so we went with 10, but we know that some people will be utilizing more. So that's available at the vmoc.com/USC. Also, if you're thinking, can I get an example of a resume? What should a resume be looking like? We do have our effective resumes, cover letters, and LinkedIn profile booklet that is available on our website. So I did include that link there. In it, there's about 8 different examples. It also has a couple different examples for cover letters, thank you letters, and a reference page, in addition to some of the recommendations for your LinkedIn profile. But I would highly recommend that you check that out. You definitely want to make sure that as you're going through the recruiting process, your resume is looking, you feel very proud of your accomplishments, because the moment a recruiter says, well, do you have a resume? You want to make sure you have it available. Something else is your cover letter, and that's going to be written to the recruiter or to the hiring manager of the internship company, and it's going to explain why you were qualified for this internship, and it'll allow you to further explain your experience. So your cover letter needs to be re-explaining that resume. It's typically seen, the cover letter is seen first and then the resume. So it's almost like that introduction, and you really need to give the company the big picture of what you can bring to that internship. So that's something that a lot of students will say, do we really need to write them? I always recommend it. It's something that allows you to really write it according to that job description. For a lot of our positions, if individuals don't write cover letters, we don't even review the application. So I know it can sometimes feel tedious and a little bit nitpicky. However, if you want to take the position seriously, you want to show that you want to be a part of that team or organization, it's in your best interest to write that cover letter. And with our example, and certainly if you wanted to come in for a drop-in session, again, Monday through Friday, 1 to 4, we'd be more than happy to review that cover letter because we think it can be a really great introduction to that resume. Last but certainly not least, we have the reference page, and this is going to be your professional list of contacts who know you and can vouch for your professionalism. So references don't have to be your supervisor, but it is important to get people out there who can clarify your candidacy. And again, these shouldn't be your parents or your roommates. These should be people who've been the people who've maybe written your letters of recommendation for college, any of your past supervisors, someone that can really serve and vouch for your experience. And it's certainly great to keep them as a reference, but also if you are applying to different internships, send them an updated copy of your resume so then they can see what you've been doing in the meantime, and they can use that as a guide of where they can talk about what you did in the work that you had done for them. All right, so once you've had those documents, the resume, the cover letter, and the reference sheet, now I'm going to give you a few suggestions about where you can go about in finding an internship. And there's a lot of different resources. Certainly, we would encourage you to work through all of these different methods, but workshops. One, you're specifically at one of our Career Center workshops, and this is giving you the insight into the particular field. Certainly wanted to make sure that you know that we are hosting a number of different workshops over the course of the year. By showing these details in our events tab or on ConnectSC, you can then see that there are a number of different workshops, everything from networking to introverts to preparing for a mock interview night to preparing for the career fair. We've got workshops for a lot of different sessions. And if you want to get a little bit more insight into that process, it's really great to see that. Also, through different workshops, we're going to be able to plug different organizations of who's hiring or upcoming deadlines. So it's really in your best interest to check that out. Also, Trojan Talks. I know there's a few different Trojan Talks that are around campus, but the Trojan Talks through the Career Center are actually companies who come to host information sessions to talk all about their specific experience. So it's something that I would highly recommend that you participate in. They're typically held in the afternoons or evenings, anywhere between 90 minutes to 2 hours. And basically, they come in to talk about the organization, what they're hiring for, and then what they're looking for in candidates. They will typically bring alums back to talk about their experience, and what better way to gain face-to-face interaction with the recruiting managers. Would highly recommend it. Also wanted to introduce OCR, otherwise known as our on-campus recruiting program. And actually, in our interview center, which is where the internship engagement office is, we have several different interview rooms. And pretty much from the beginning of September to the middle of November, this is when organizations will actually conduct first round interviews here on campus. While we do recognize that several organizations are doing virtual interviewing, there still are a handful who are coming in to make use of our office. So want to make sure that you know about that. There's a couple different recruiting methods within on-campus recruiting. You might see something that's listed as a resume drop. That means you can drop your resume for those particular opportunities. The other method would be pre-select. That's where you will see a series of deadlines. And as long as you apply by the particular deadline, then you will find out whether or not you were pre-selected to participate in those interviews. So a lot of exciting organizations that will be coming through. And so just make sure that you are reviewing that on ConnectSC. I will show you at the end of this presentation. Then we have our career fair. Very excited that we've got quite a few different employers who will be participating in our in-person career fair happening on Thursday, September 15th along Truesdale Parkway. They're going to be out there recruiting for both paid internships and full-time salaried positions. It is a great way to see who's coming. My best advice for the career fair is research to see who's coming, because there's nothing worse than showing up the day of and thinking, gosh, there's over 100 organizations out here. Where do I start? At the beginning of the alphabet or at the end? Instead, go on to ConnectSC, search the different events, and specifically look up in the career fair to see who's hiring for internships versus full-time, who's hiring those who need work visas or not. We do split that up so we can help you with that process and preparing. Again, we want to make sure that you're prepared so that you can anticipate these conversations and really visualize what you want to give for your elevator pitch or how to, stand out from the crowd. So definitely something to look at. Also wanted to mention our Investigate Industries and Internships. This is actually an educational panel that we are going to be hosting here in a couple weeks. It's going to be on September 6th and 7th. And then the 4 different industries that we will be highlighting are finance and accounting, technology, consulting, and then business and econ. So it's a great way to hear from the employers who are actually going to be doing the hiring. And not only are they going to give you some insight into their particular work organizations, but what does the internship look like? How can you break into the field and gain some other key insight into what it is to work in those fields? We will be doing these sessions virtually. So the idea is these employers will be coming from will be coming together from all over the US. And it's just a great way to learn about some of the different internship opportunities. Whether you are, a first year student just getting started, or you are someone who's an upperclassman or even a graduate student looking to gain a little bit more insight into the field, I3 could be that for you. Then, of course, ConnectSC, our signature platform. And I've made note of some of the different industry-specific portals that you might be wanting to take a search for the particular industry. So Art Search is for those students who are pursuing all things arts focused. So whether it's fine arts, arts education, museums, anything like that, this is a platform that you can see a number of different job listings nationwide. Then we have Bridge. Bridge is our music connections, again, for nationwide opportunities. If you're interested in pursuing environmental career opportunities, there is a platform through the portal for that, or opportunities in public affairs. We recognize that these are external sites, but just as amazing with nationwide opportunities, and wanted to certainly bring them to your attention. The next one I'll be speaking about is Going Global. And what I love about this resource is that not only does it provide listings for internships, but it also does give you some country advice. So I know that through some of the virtual experiences and in preparation, students wanted to know, well, I've never been to this particular country. What are some of the things that I can anticipate, or some cultural advice, or ways that I can prepare myself so I'm better equipped to work with my new coworkers? And actually, through Going Global, they break down all the different countries, and they will talk about the cultural advice for that specific country. And it's very insightful. They'll even show you what resumes look like. So where we wouldn't imagine putting a picture on our resumes, in some other countries, that's the standard, that's the norm. So definitely want you to check that out. There's also great information for our international students. If international students want to see where other international students were getting jobs post-graduation through the H-1B process, that information is updated on an annual basis, and it'll show you where they're getting jobs, at which organizations, at which salary point. So very, very interesting information there. Certainly wanted to talk about Career Shift, which is a career exploration tool, and it'll help students identify millions of different contacts for networking, or to see what's going on in the hidden job market, and even identify recruiters from a diverse list of different company and industry, also on ConnectSC. And then the last one is our Career Access Resource Library, known as CARL. If you go to carl.usc.edu, this is where you're going to see a list of different vetted opportunities, whether it's broken down by industry or different scholarships, or even some of the different general career exploration tools. They are certainly available there. And what I would say is, under really all of these opportunities, it's really thinking about, what can I get more information as I explore the different industry and or experience. So those are some of just a few of the ideas of where you can go for the internship. But we know that, if this isn't enough and you're thinking of what are some of the different ways I can try to network, I can try to get my foot in the door, some people will certainly try to utilize LinkedIn and working through the numbers. Right now, our Alumni Association talks about the over 450,000 Trojan alums out there, and nearly 350,000 of them are on LinkedIn. And for some of you, you might want to try to utilize that as a resource, but really, let's think smaller. Let's think about who we have right at our fingertips. We can actually start connecting with people that are right around us, whether it's the people who are in the room, maybe it's family, maybe it's your friends, your roommates. How about your faculty? How about those that are teaching the course? They're typically experts in the field and they know a lot of different people in industry. Why not start asking them, do you know anyone or can you put me in touch with? Now, if you say, can you just put me in touch with it? You're not asking for a job. You're simply trying to gain a little bit more insight into the field. Now, sometimes that conversation will eventually go to, well, do you have an internship? Are you looking to gain some insight? There could be a lot of really great experience that comes from that. And so I would certainly suggest checking that out. Also with your classmates. I hope that as you're connecting this semester, you can say, well, what did you do this summer? What did you end up doing? Or what did you do last spring? I haven't talked to you since, last March or April. Whatever it may be, start having those conversations. As you're coming back to campus and thinking about some of the different student services office, are any of those individuals your mentors? Can you talk to them to see, do they happen to know anyone in the field? And it's really important as you're going through that to let people know where you are. Oh, I'm a first year. I'm looking to get a little bit more familiar with campus and maybe take on an internship next spring or summer 2023. Or if you are, a sophomore, junior, or senior, and you're thinking, wow, I really need an internship this year. Let them know that you're in the process of looking for one. It doesn't mean you ask for one, but you just say, I'm working through my classes. I've got 4 classes that are all specific to my major, and I'm really excited about pursuing them. And I really hope that I can gain a little bit more insight with industry experience. You never know what'll happen with those conversations. And a lot of time it's not what you know, but who you know. So making sure that you can really utilize your network and expand that. And so we actually do have a platform that will discuss all things Trojan Network. And we do have a session that's going to be going on Wednesday, August 24th. It will also be available on YouTube, but it's going to then talk about how can you utilize your Trojan Network. We have a platform of over 13,000 alums who have volunteered to help share their experience and their insight so that it can prepare you. So what's nice about this platform is not only can you search by industry or location, but you can search by help topic. So if you're trying to gain a little bit more insight to a particular field, or you wanted to do some job shadowing, some informational interviewing, just learning about how they were able to transition from college life to the real world, whatever it may be, you can utilize that resource and it's very easy to use. But again, it's our Trojan Network and we'll give more details about that platform. But really the most important part of this whole piece is when you're networking, be yourself. Don't try to, fabricate anything. Just be true to who you are, share your experiences. And when they happen naturally like that, that's when you're going to have those best opportunities of connection. So it's something that the more experience you have, the easier it's going to be. But if you do have questions about the Trojan Network, it is my colleague Giselle Jose who will have a lot more to say in her presentation then on Wednesday, August 24th. So now that we've spoken a little bit about networking, I want to talk about securing that internship. You've talked about the prep, you've talked about, what is needed. I now want to go through those final steps just to make sure you're doing everything in your power to make that stand out. So ultimately, you now have researched the organization, you have a better idea of it, but you want to make sure that you're going to be prepared for an interview. And make sure, sometimes people think, oh, the interview, there's so much pressure on the candidate. It's really on both sides because not only are they interviewing you for the role, but you're also interviewing them. You're trying to think, can I imagine myself in this work environment? Could these be my colleagues? Could this be my supervisor? How are they treating people? Just make sure that you do review the company and the industry before. Make sure you give yourself enough time to do that. And we do have a couple tools to help you with that. One of my favorite tools is our big interview tool. And with this, there's really 2 different methods that you can approach it. There's either the fast track. Let's say you only have a couple days or a very limited amount of time. You're going to want to take the fast track of it just because it's going to condense down that information. Otherwise, there is a mastery track typically for someone who has at least 3 or 4 days to prep, but definitely with utilizing big interview, it's going to give you the chance to go through a list of questions. It's going to give you more insight into the particular field. It's going to give you a lot of information there to think about what are your strengths? How do you pitch yourself? How can you make yourself stand out and really, give a little bit more detail to what's in your resume? And again, that's going to be available on ConnectSC. Our office does actually mock interviews appointments as well. We do require a little bit more time with them because we want to make them specific and intentional. So if you have at least, 3 to 5 days to prepare, then that is something that you can do. And that would then be, you would register for that within ConnectSC. So once you've then aced that interview, I'm going to recommend that you do send a thank you note. We do still see students who are going to handwrite thank you notes, but certainly you can send an email thank you note, something that's basically 3 to 4 sentences. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me today about this particular role. I enjoyed learning about X, Y, and Z. Um, Again, I appreciate the time you took out of your busy schedule and look forward to hearing from you. Just something that acknowledges the fact that they did take time out of their busy day to assist you. It's something that's very, very important, and I'd highly recommend doing it. Again, when we're looking at different candidates with different qualifications, if we see that person, wow, they did everything right, but then they have a thank you letter versus the other person who didn't, we are going to probably give that person with a thank you note because again, it's all about customer service and that interaction. And if these are people who are going to be working with students, we want to make sure that they put their best foot forward. And then hopefully you will be getting the offer. And we always encourage students to get an offer letter just because we want to make sure that you have a better understanding of the expectations of the internship. And so sometimes I'll talk to students and they'll say, I got the internship. And then I'll say, great. Which specific department? Or when do you start? Or who's your supervisor? And they go, I don't know those details. So here's an example of what we hope that you can get specifically from the organization. We call it our Offers 101. We certainly do recommend that it does come in writing so then you can get it all down. I know sometimes when you get an offer, it's over the phone and you're just so excited about the opportunity that you don't have all those specific details. However, we certainly do recommend that you get the company as well as the department. What is your specific title and your supervisor? Start and end dates, not just, calendar wise, but different hours that you could be working. Definitely share any university holidays. I know that with our fall break, Thanksgiving break, winter break, just make sure that they are aware of that. Also indicate whether it's paid or unpaid. And if, you need a course, you need to then make sure that fits within your schedule. And then of course, any, legal disclosures. That's something that students do need to be aware of. And if you do have questions about this, we're more than happy to speak with you, or else you can speak with HR if you don't have this information. So while I know this does seem like a lot of information, I certainly want to, give you some self-care tips for the internship search. As I mentioned, it might feel a little bit like the college application process, which feels like a full-time job within itself. So I remind you to give yourself grace. Give yourself a chance to breathe because not only are you doing this, you're also in classes, you're also making connections with your peers, you're getting involved here at USC. There's a lot going on. And also note that there's no one specific path to a specific company or internship or job. A lot of times up until this point, it's, been elementary school, middle school, high school, and then college. And it seems very straightforward, very linear. However, you might decide, I'm going to try this internship. Nope, didn't like it. You're going to go back and go in a different way and then have a different path. That is okay. That is all a part of this process. As long as you're learning from it, sometimes you learn more about what you don't want in an internship, and that's okay too. So, really just want you to understand that, or really hope that you can just manage your time well. And even if you sometimes get further clarification of that's not what you want to do, that is okay. That is just as important. And certainly celebrate those small wins. So let's say, you've got your resume and you've gotten a score and you've updated it and you got 10 additional points on our smart resume resource. That's great. Congratulations. Now with that, if you get closer to 75 and you're ready to send it off to the employer, celebrate that too. Make sure that you also give yourself enough downtime. Downtime meaning away from homework, away from academic obligations. Give yourself that chance to breathe and to clear your mind, whether that means you need to stop by the rec, you need to stop over to rec sports or take a walk or just get some fresh air, call a friend. Give yourself the chance for that. And certainly wanted to let you know that it is okay to ask for help, whether it's help from the USC Career Center or from our colleagues within USC Counseling and Mental Health Services. I wanted to make this information available to you. There's a lot of exceptional resources at USC, and we do want to help you. And so certainly just wanted to bring that to your attention. So just know it's okay to give yourself grace. It's okay to give yourself that moment of just to pause and reflect and make sure if you need the help, you're going to ask for it. Again, whether it's from our office or our colleagues over in the Student Health Center, we want to be there for you. All right. So sometimes students say, well, I've done all these great internships, I've gotten them, but now I need some scholarships. I wanted to share our link for the scholarship opportunities. And specifically in our office, we do offer two different options. The first one is our USC Dream Dollar Scholarship. A $1,500 scholarship goes out to 10 undergrads seeking unpaid summer internships at either nonprofit or government agencies. Fortunately, the deadline is not until next April. And so what we do ask is that you do need to secure the internship first, and then you would apply for this funding. It is a two-step process. The application does require you to go to the university's scholarship site known as Scholarship Universe, as well as ConnectSC. So all the details for that one will be up on our website, but just know it is a two-part process. Similarly to our first generation scholarship, this is a $2,000 opportunity for 5 undergrads who are the first in their families to attend college. The internship must be a minimum of 6 weeks, and there's no GPA requirement, but both opportunities are open to both domestic and international students, and it has the same deadline of next April. So really great options. We've been doing these scholarships from 2008 to 2015, respectively, and it's been really wonderful to see students make use of all the potential funding. Now, wanted to give you some key dates. We are in the fall semester. There's a lot of different programming going on. And so I mentioned really the first one that's going to kick us off is the virtual Investigate Industries and Internships known as I3. They're going to be happening from 12 to 1 or 2 to 3. Again, the industries that we're going to highlight are finance and accounting, tech, consulting, and then business and econ. And then right on the tails of that, we've got our virtual on-campus recruiting. It's going to be virtual just because we know that a number of employers are doing the virtual interviews, and that'll be going from early September until the middle of November. Also have an exciting opportunity with our virtual mock interview night with USC alums. So this is a Tuesday evening event from 6 to 8 p.m. You can sign up from on ConnectSC, and it will actually pair you with alums who are going to do a mock interview and ask you questions. And what better way than to, rehearse your elevator pitch and gain a little bit of insight from someone who's just so happy to give back and really prepare you for the career fair, which is 2 days later. So really great opportunity and hope you can join us for that. Then, as I mentioned, the in-person career fair along Truesdale on September 15th. That's a Thursday from 10 to 2. If you tell me, Lauren, I have classes from those 4 hours, a lot of these employers will come as early as 8 or 8:30, knowing that students have 10 a.m. class. So just try to get there early. Maybe you can help them set up or ask them your questions prior to your classes starting. So something to check out. And then we do have our in-person Veterans and Military Family Recruiting Night. Wanted to share that date with you. You can certainly sign up for it on ConnectSC. Then we also have our virtual International Student Career Fair on October 11th from 6 to 10 p.m. So here's a quick snapshot of some of those key dates. Certainly wanted to share that with you. But now what to do? Certainly you're going to want to visit the USC Career Center, whether it's in the Student Union building right behind me. Otherwise, everything is available on our careers.usc.edu email or website, careers.usc.edu. Again, that's the email address, or our generic email is just careers@usc.edu. But I certainly want to encourage you to review those different resources. There was a ton that I spoke about and the different positions. If you have questions, come for a drop-in or a 30-minute appointment and make sure you're really taking advantage of all the different events and certainly owning up to your search because ultimately you're preparing for your future. So with that, just wanted to share again the contact information as well as some of the social media tabs. And then at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go ahead and transition to our ConnectSC platform. So bear with me for just one moment. All right, so now I'm going to go into ConnectSC and give you a better idea of what this platform does look like. So I was able to access this from careers.usc.edu, and then on the right side of the page, you'll see a button for ConnectSC. You're going to log into your credentials, your USC credentials specifically, and then you're going to get to this home page. What's nice is that you will notice that it has been a refresh from previous years, but what you can do is you can have access to the different jobs, including on-campus positions, work study, non-work study, and internships, different events for everything from the career fair to workshops, to search by employers, or resources. And then this counseling tab is specifically for our appointments. So that gives you a quick snapshot. But what I want to do first specifically is go into the job search piece. Because under job search, this is where you are then going to be able to see all the different ways that you can search. You might be overwhelmed specifically by, the 2,700 different results, but then under position type, this is where you can indicate whether you want the paid or unpaid position. Maybe you want work study versus non-work study. And then when you apply for those, when you apply, it means you apply to see the list, and then you can specifically see some of the other specific roles. So when I search specifically by paid internships, you'll notice that there's 515 different results. I can click on any one of those to be able to get a little bit more detail. You'll see then here's a description. They're giving a little bit more detail as far as what the practice involves, the different responsibilities. If they had any specific eligibility qualifications, they would indicate that here. Preferred qualifications, the job ID. So if you wanted to quickly come back to this specific one, you could do so. And then to apply, you would simply click on the apply button. Just make sure that if you have selected apply, then you do have a copy of your resume and or cover letter on the platform, but that's how you can go about and see those different positions. Certainly, if you go back to the home page, this is where you can then see how you can go ahead and add a resume to upload that. Maybe you want to update your profile in order to be included in different resume booklets. Those would then be shared with different organizations who are hired. Here's the need help with your resume. Get 24/7 personalized resume through VMOC. VMOC is the portal, but we call that our smart resume tool. It gives you the link to it right here. Other things, make sure you can then be promoted by you. That's a feature of the site. And if there's anything that's fraudulent, you can then share that with us. All details about the career fair. Speaking of the career fair, this is where you would then go to the events tab. Under the events tab, it's going to list all the different sessions. So then if you want to search by type, this will then allow you to gain more insight to career events. So these would be our signature career fair. Workshop would be the different sessions put on by the different student services offices. And then the Trojan talks are the information sessions by employers. So if you're curious to see what are the different career events, the signature events, whether it's our I3 series or the career fair, the International Student Fair or Grad School Fair, that's where you're going to see that. Then I mentioned, there's over 100 different employers, and to see who's coming, you simply select the 120 employers. And then from here, you can then let us know that you're attending, but then you can see who are these employers. Then if you wanted to see, okay, well, what is Abbott specifically hiring for? Look at this, their paid internship. These are the different majors that they're recruiting for. If you wanted to see their full profile to gain a little bit more insight, you can do so there. And it doesn't have the apply button because we want you to engage with the employer at the session, but at least you can RSVP and see specifically what they're hiring for. So that's a quick snapshot about the events, just so you can get a better idea of what organizations are coming to share some of their different opportunities. So whether it's with EY Parthenon, a Trojan talk with Anderson, and then, even opportunities with several other different organizations. And this list is going to continue to build. So keep checking it out, making sure that you are in the know. Then going back to the homepage, as I mentioned, there's several different resources. And while certainly ConnectSC is going to show you the different on-campus positions, internships, and full-time jobs, I want you to see our online resources and handouts. So when I mentioned the resource Connecting Majors to Careers, Firsthand, which is the day in the life of, all these different resources are available here. You can see them as a long list of 30 different items, but you can always then just say, I remember something about connecting majors. Here you go, Connecting Majors to Careers. You would click on that link, and then you would click Visit. Just know it's then going to take you to this website. Sometimes students think, oh, I've got the website, I can now access it. Because it is produced by, in order, basically the Career Center pays for your subscription, so you have to utilize it through ConnectSC. So if you think that you can try to get the information just by taking this URL, it's not going to allow you. So just make sure, again, you go into the home page, online resources and handouts, and then you can specifically type in Connecting Majors to Careers. You also have the ability to search by category. So if you're right at the beginning stages as of maybe a first or second year and you want to see what are all the different career exploration tools, click Apply. You'll see these are the three that we recommend versus if you are a little bit further in the process and you want to get some information on salary negotiation, you can then see that that's specific. We have another tool that we have specifically for salary negotiation. But what I would recommend then in looking at different resources, like for instance, under networking, this is where you can see, oh, here's some information about the 30-second elevator pitch or Candid Careers, which are a number of different videos, including some with USC alum that'll talk about how they were able to, you know, pursue different majors, how those majors then translated to different roles. So a lot of great insight with that. And then just wanted to point out the counseling tab. So this is where you can request a new appointment, and certainly you can request it for any time within business hours, but then there's also the plug specifically for our 10 to 15 minute drop-in sessions, which are virtual through our Brazen platform. So this is a quick overview of ConnectSC. I wanted to make sure you at least had some familiarity with it, but it is something that I would highly recommend that you check out sooner rather than later. But with that, I certainly wanted to encourage you to get your resume reviewed, then upload it, and then start searching for these different opportunities. It's really in your best interest to start early because we typically see students applying for internships the semester before you want it. So if you want a summer internship, yes, some of the deadlines are going to be this fall for the more analytical roles, but for more of the creative roles, then those deadlines will be in the spring. So hopefully that gives you a little bit better idea with the timing. All right. Well, I hope that over the last almost hour, this has given you a pretty good idea about all the different resources that you can utilize in order to find that internship. We certainly hope that you will find yourself going to our website again, careers.usc.edu, utilizing the ConnectSC platform for on-campus positions, internships, and then full-time positions, as well as our online resources. So thank you so much for listening and hope you have a great fall semester. Fight on.